would like to begin with our appreciation for the ambitious HLPE report. Importantly, this report places data governance at the heart of its proposed framework, opens up the discussion about digitalization, and raises serious questions regarding the balance of benefits and risks. It acknowledges that the many unknown aspects of emerging digital technologies must be addressed, and elaborates a comprehensive framework for democratizing data collection and data-informed decision-making. It also highlights the importance of grounding the conceptual framework for data collection and analysis in human rights, including the right to food, the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, and the UN Declaration on the Rights of Peasants and other people working in rural areas. However, the 5 areas of recommendations at the end of the HLPE report are limited to addressing only a narrow slice of the issues brought up by the report, as well as earlier input in the work stream. These recommendations focus on only the collection of statistical quantitative data to inform policy making. This approach has the dangerous tendency of narrowing and reducing smallholder farmers, food producers, and indigenous peoples and their related territories as simply a source of data instead of strengthening them as rights holders. In contrast, today, data collection and analysis through digital technologies is being integrated into all aspects of the food system activities, while ignoring the negative social and environmental impacts. As more data-driven technologies are being introduced, data on food systems is now emerging as one of the most valuable commodities. This massive accumulation of data information on land, seeds, plant genetics, livestock, workers, production systems, and consumer behavior, as well as the unequal capacity to analyze and process data, is concentrating power and wealth into the hands of a few and putting future food security in jeopardy. The report spends an entire chapter exploring these technologies and acknowledges their risks. It is disappointing, therefore, that the recommendations do not engage with this important and far-reaching dimensional change in our food systems and their implications for food security and nutrition. As CSIPM, we urge the Open-Ended Working Group to urgently rectify this oversight. The evaluation of the impacts of data-driven digital agri-food technologies and their proper evaluation, governance, and oversight must be a key plank of any policy recommendations work on this topic. With this missing element in mind, and building from the current 5 proposed recommendations, we suggest the following rearrangement and consolidation into 4 themes. 1, governance, establishing inclusive data governance for enhanced data agency. 2, assessment, assessing data-driven technologies in the food system, the missing element. 3, justice and equity, strengthening and aligning data collection infrastructures in a fair, open, and appropriate basis. And 4, capacity building, improving capacity building, human capacities, and participation in data assessment, data government, and collection. I will briefly offer a few more specifics on these 4 themes. Data governance must be driven by already agreed upon normative frameworks, including the human right to food, as well as emerging guidelines such as the fair and care principles as described in the HLPE report. Governance of data must ensure that digitalization is oriented to the common good with a participatory approach to governance that guards against power imbalances. States have to ensure that data is collected with privacy protection, anonymity, and the necessary prohibition that no data or information derived from the data can be turned into a private, marketable product, nor can it be sold. The requirement of informed consent of all communities and free, prior, and informed consent for Indigenous peoples for data collection and sharing must be upheld. Assessment. An assessment of the whole digital food chain and its future needs should be developed to avoid excluding key aspects of the diversity of food systems, as well as to protect those elements of food systems that may be eroded by the digitalization of food production, processing, and distribution processes. This assessment must include methods in which the digital food chain may enhance and support agroecology, food sovereignty, human rights, and environmental justice. Justice and equity. Data collection infrastructures must be strengthened in a way that is concretely fair, equitable, open, and appropriate. The recommendations should acknowledge that conflicts of interest are inevitable when the private sector is involved in data collection. Multiple forms of data, such as qualitative data, and multiple methodologies of information collection and analysis are already developed by communities, including Indigenous communities. Basic human rights can be negatively affected by the spread of digitalization, and this should be addressed. And finally, capacity building. The policy recommendations must address improving capacity building and human capacities to enable participation in data quality assessment, government, and collection. Policy recommendations must support and enhance the capacities of small-scale food producers and their organizations and communities to identify and produce the data that they need. The policy recommendations must therefore both address access to data and technologies as part of enabling community capacity building to engage in effective governance of data. I would like to remind you that we have more details on these points that can be found in our written submission to this work stream, and we look forward to this policy process negotiations. I thank you.